ビーチから一人いなくなったわ。
さっき帰ったのが最後の客だ。このホテルと辺り一帯は E 組が貸し切った。
余計なことするじゃないわよ。なんで私の水着デビューはいつもこうなの？
At this point, beach episodes became a meme nobody thinking too much about. Filler, fan service fun, and many other Fs come to mind way before anything productive. But what if I told you that we actually need them and then they serve a very important purpose? Hello, comrade. My name is Mahis. Come, get yourself a beverage and sit down with me. We got anime beaches to rant about.
私たちヒーローは絶えず悪と対峙し、悪意を見せ続けられている。だから平和というものを肌で感じ、それを守りたいという意志を強く持ってほしい。そう考えてるのね。
These couple of lines you just heard are the prime reason for why we need these types of episodes in almost any narrative. I agree that it mostly applies to shonen based on how Ryukyu put it, yet if you tweak the message a bit and consider the beach episode to be the baseline to which you can compare the stakes later, you'll be able to apply it to drama, horror, and maybe even comedy. Because think about it, if you have a perpetual escalation of stakes that goes way beyond the original scope of the show, you start to lose track of simpler times, so to speak, and forget what we were fighting for to begin with. Again, change the word stakes into plot to cover a greater range of stories, and you'll see that other genres also have fluctuations in tension, though it is way more apparent in battle shonen, and thus it's used as an example moving forward. This here is what I call a calm before the storm situation. And yeah, it's not exactly a beach episode, but it serves a similar purpose. Actually, scenes like that serve several purposes, and we'll get back to that later. For now, we're dulling your senses a bit with a false sense of security and simultaneously giving you example of the good times when everyone is happy. Mostly everyone, so that you can understand that this is where we ultimately want to be. Safe, without a care in the world, spending quality time with our friends and other close ones. Note that this default state can vary from one story to another, since Natsu, for example, would want to travel the world with his friends and complete various quests, while Shikamaru would rather chill and live a boring life. Regardless, it's not always going to be like that, and depending on the genre, you might not see some of these people again outside the flashback.
みんなどこ行っちゃったのよもう。かなちゃん。遅い。どこまで行ってたの？私たち一泳ぎしてきちゃったよ。ちょっと不用心じゃない？やったー、スイカだスイカ。
Speaking of quality time with friends, we can't underestimate the effect of adding a few extra minutes of screen time to a side character on top of showing them in a different environment. It simply helps us bond with them, which in turn helps us care about these guys more as the story unfolds. How many times did we see characters being introduced and killed off within the next few episodes without letting us grow attached to them first? Demon Slayer is one of the worst offenders here because some of its more intricate characters were turned into a donut without letting us spend time with them first. Well, adding pure quantity doesn't always work, cause I swear you can give me anything with Stenton in it and I still won't give two shits about her. But if done to characters with some substance, extra scenes can be pretty effective. Like in the beach arc from the Blue Exorcist manga, which developed some members of the cast and began the setup for one of the major character plotlines.
良いではないか、イチゴ。おかげでこれだけの水着美女と一緒に海に来られたのじゃぞ。感謝せえ。イチゴ、せっかくの機会だ。日頃お世話になっている皆様にお礼をするといい。そうですよね、兄様。
Another layer to character development is making sure they don't fall into a cardboard cutout category. Granted, most of these characters aren't flat at all, but you can't deny the fact that seeing them do something normal and not slaying monsters 24/7 makes them way more human and relatable as a result. That's one of the reasons I personally care about villains more if they perform some mundane, everyday human behavior like playing board games. These guys have lives, interests, sometimes hold different sides to them outside the regular 9 to 5 hours, and showing that adds a lot of flavor and depth to the narrative. Yes, you can do that in 100 other ways. Still, a beach episode is one of the more efficient ways to expand on characters' personality if we are not counting the major story arcs.
向こうにいる敵全部殺せば俺たち自由になれるのか?
The beach episode, in my opinion, is supposed to have an element of contrast. This one here is a bit extreme because it's the closest thing AOT has to a beach episode, and the contrast is not towards the whole show but to the scene itself. Everyone is happy, Mikasa's even smiling, and there he is, our bundle of sunshine and joy. Way to ruin the mood. Which was exactly the purpose, since if he said that anywhere else under normal miserable circumstances, it would have been noticeably less impactful. That's the point of the contrast. It amplifies a certain feeling or a situation, making it a very useful tool in the author's arsenal. You don't have to make something as big as Eren, fuck everyone and Mikasa especially, Jaeger. Just put the characters into an unusual setting that focuses on other parts of their personality and let them interact with each other to develop both themselves and their relationships.
What are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
But it's a painting of your family.
You think I care?
I think you do.
In case you were wondering what beach episodes I consider the best based on everything we've discussed so far, I have a few, starting with The Last Airbender. There is basically no beating it. It has relevance to the main story, great character development. Hell, I can't really call anything a fan service there because even Ty Lee, who is showing the most amount of skin, is still dressed very modestly by IRL standards, let alone anime. Also, no butt shots or suggestive poses. Very paladin friendly. Then we have My Hero Acca for the pure philosophical value, even though it is a filler. And finally, a Black Clover episode, which used the beach as a neat transition into an underwater city arc. Man, I've complimented Black Clover twice this year. I'm very disappointed with myself. There must be more of them out there, I just can't recall them off the top of my head. However, this trope reminds me of another one we see in almost every relevant show.
あら、東京港の皆さんお揃いで。わざわざお出迎え？
Does every shonen need a tournament arc? No. Do we still like it? Hell yes! If done right, it can be one of the highlights of the whole show, though it's rarely meant to be like that. Its primary purpose is to quickly introduce a bunch of characters and pit them against each other so that you can do some showcasing, develop the existing plot lines, or set up for new ones. Now think of the beach episode from that perspective. Of course they're not the same at what they do nor how they do it. What I'm getting towards is that a beach episode is like a tournament arc in the sense that it's a writing tool used left, right and center to fulfill the needs of the narrative through a mostly standardized formula, the benefits of which became almost obsolete due to the frequent and largely incorrect usage. In other words, the dwarves delved too greedily and too deep and fucked it up for the rest of us, since the percentage of terrible beach episodes is orders of magnitude greater than that of the tournament arcs simply because they are easier to produce. This is the example of what I was just talking about. Instead of adding value to a story in a cheeky way and creating new scenarios for characters to shine in, it all descended into a mediocre comedy and a different kind of plot. Why are we wasting these perfect opportunities to add color to the existing canvas in favor of temporary throwaway sub-stories? Sure, if you want the viewer to relax a bit, I'll take this type of tension relief episode over random humorless gags balls deep into action, looking at you Helsing, and enjoy the visual part at least. After all, there might be a legitimate reason for making a filler beach episode. Sometimes the budget needs to be saved, the length of the show needs stretching, or it's just for the sake of not so innocent fun. I've read that the artists often enjoy drawing giant titties and scenic backgrounds before going ham on whatever is coming next. That's it for the beach episode rant. Let me know what you think of this more casual format to fill the void between normal uploads, maybe even drop a suggestion or an interest topic, as well as check out the links in the description, drop a like and all that YouTube stuff. Have a great whatever time of the day you have. Until next time, cheers.